There are compliments, and then there are compliments. He touched nothing that he did not adorn. That's what the great Samuel Johnson wrote for his friend Oliver Goldsmith. It's got to be one of the most incredible things one writer has ever said about another, and it really gets to the heart of a truly amazing story.
So let's dive into this. We're going to explore the story of a brilliant but seriously troubled writer and the literary giant who saw his genius and just refused to let it slip away. And this is way more than just a nice story about friendship. This is like a case study in how having a real champion can literally change everything.
Because, and I mean this, Oliver Goldsmith was the definition of an underdog. He was shy, kind of awkward, and by all accounts, not exactly a movie star. An immigrant from rural Ireland just trying to make it in London. He was the absolute last person you'd ever pick to end up in Poets' Corner. And believe me, his struggles started early.
To really get what he was up against later, we've got to go back to his college days at Trinity in Dublin, and wow, they were messy. See, Goldsmith's family didn't have a lot of money, so he couldn't enroll as a regular fee-paying student, what they called a pensioner. Instead, he was a sizar, which basically meant he had to work his way through school, doing chores and menial tasks for his wealthier classmates. In the super rigid class system back then, that immediately put a giant target on his back.
And this wasn't some quiet behind-the-scenes arrangement. Oh no, sizars had to wear these bright red caps. Just imagine that for a second. Every single day, you're forced to wear a symbol that just screams to everyone, hey, look at me, I'm the charity case. You can see how that would make you feel alienated, maybe even a little defiant, right?
And if that wasn't bad enough, his assigned tutor was this guy, Dr. Vicar Wilder. Now, Wilder was a mathematician. Goldsmith? He hated math. So yeah, they did not get along at all. Goldsmith later described him in some pretty colorful terms.
You get a perfect feel for their relationship from this one little story. Wilder, trying to be a smart aleck in a lecture, sarcastically asks Goldsmith, where is your center of gravity? And Goldsmith, without missing a beat, fires back with this. I mean, it's a brilliant comeback, but also a spectacularly bad idea. That was Goldsmith in a nutshell, a super quick wit that constantly got him in trouble.
Well, things finally boiled over when Wilder actually physically knocked Goldsmith to the floor for hosting a party. Goldsmith was so humiliated, he just bolted. He was going to run away to America with, get this, a single shilling in his pocket. Luckily, he was talked into coming back, and somehow he actually managed to graduate. But his problems were just getting started.
So, after all that, Goldsmith lands in London. And this is it. This is the moment where everything changes, because he's about to meet the person who will alter the course of his entire life. But let's be clear, when he gets to London, he is a mess. He's flat broke, he's got a serious gambling problem that would stick with him his whole life, and on top of everything, he's an Irish immigrant with no connections and zero career prospects. It was not looking good. And then he meets Dr. Samuel Johnson. Now, it's almost impossible today to explain what a big deal Johnson was. This is the man who wrote the first great English dictionary. He was a celebrated poet, a feared critic. He was the literary universe in London, the absolute king.
And here's the amazing part. Johnson saw past the awkward exterior and the messy life. He saw the genius, and he proved it by inviting Goldsmith to be a founding member of the club. This wasn't just some book club, okay? This was the club, the absolute A-list of the brightest minds in London. For Goldsmith to get an invitation, that was Johnson sending a signal to the whole world. Pay attention to this guy, he's one of us. But a spot in his club was just the beginning. What Johnson did next for Goldsmith is basically a masterclass in how to truly champion talent. It's like he had a playbook. Okay, so playbook. Step 1, endorse them publicly and powerfully. When Goldsmith publishes his poem, The Traveler, Johnson doesn't just write a nice little review. He uses all of his critical might to declare it the best poem since the death of Alexander Pope, who was basically the god of poetry. That one line from Johnson, it was a rocket launch. It guaranteed the poem's success. All right, playbook step 2, intervene in a crisis. This next part is maybe the most famous story about them. Johnson gets an urgent message one morning. It's from Goldsmith. He's in serious, serious trouble.
So Johnson rushes over, and what does he find? Goldsmith has been arrested by his landlady because he can't pay the rent. He's about to be dragged off to debtor's prison. And how is Goldsmith handling this incredibly stressful situation? By drinking a bottle of fancy wine he bought with the last bit of money Johnson had sent him. You just can't make this stuff up.
This is where Johnson is just a genius. He doesn't lecture him, he doesn't panic, he spots a manuscript on the desk, reads a few pages, and realizes it's brilliant. So he takes the manuscript, marches down to a publisher, and sells it on the spot for £60, a huge sum of money back then, enough to pay the landlady and save Goldsmith from ruin. And that manuscript? Just a little novel called The Vicar of Wakefield. And finally, playbook step 3, leverage your own influence. When Goldsmith wrote his masterpiece of a comedy, She Stoops to Conquer, the theater manager got cold feet. He was convinced it would flop, so Johnson stepped in. He used his immense reputation and basically pressured the manager into staging the play. He threw his weight around for his friend.
So there it is, Johnson's Patron's Playbook. It's so simple, but so powerful. First, give them a public seal of approval. Second, step in with real, practical help when they're in crisis. And third, use your own power to open doors for them that they can't open themselves. And what was the result of all this? What did this incredible championship produce? Nothing less than a legacy of masterpieces that, honestly, we came this close to never getting to read. I mean, look at this range. The guy mastered poetry, prose, and drama. The Traveler was made famous by Johnson's review. The Vicar of Wakefield was literally rescued from a landlord by Johnson's quick thinking, and She Stoops to Conquer only made it to the stage because Johnson basically forced it to happen. Every one of these is a testament to Goldsmith's genius, yes, but also to Johnson's unwavering belief in him. And so that's how the story ends. The shy, awkward kid from the Irish Midlands, the Baroque student in the red cap, the writer about to be thrown into prison, ends up here, buried in Poets' Corner, Westminster Abbey, among the greatest writers in the English language, all because he found a champion. It's such a powerful idea, isn't it? That talent alone isn't always enough. Sometimes genius needs a champion to see it, to nurture it, and to fight for it. It kind of makes you wonder, who's the Johnson to your Goldsmith?